People don't do what they do because they're inherently bad. That's not the reason why. So we never have the chance to actually question the way that we live, because from the moment we're born, these are the values we're given.
The first time that I walked up close, there was a pig looking back at me through the porthole, and it was the most unbelievable experience.
Once you have seen the footage of what actually is happening to these individuals in animal factories, you can never unsee that.
All right, let's go, everyone. You can summarize what we're trying to do in 10 simple words. Find your voice, find some friends, and fight like hell.
My journey so far has taken me further than I ever could have expected. I learned so much about the impact of our diet on the planet, our health, and the animals. I met with scientists and entrepreneurs who are creating what is being called the future of meat. I learned about the health and ethical issues with dairy production, and I even got to watch as old traditions transformed into new ones in the form of vegan cheese. I also got to meet with inspiring vegan athletes from around the globe who are pushing back against what we've been taught to believe about what it means to be strong. But I still wanted to learn more. Where does the word vegan come from, and what does it really mean? So I headed to Birmingham in the United Kingdom to speak with the experts from the Vegan Society.
The Vegan Society was founded back in 1944 by Donald Watson and a group of other non-dairy vegetarians who thought vegetarianism simply isn't enough, that we need to take the step further and become vegan. So veganism has actually been around for 74 years, even though some people think it's quite a recent thing. It's been around for quite a while.
There were some fascinating alternatives suggested. Instead of vegan, we could be called vitans or beau mangeurs. There were some wonderful suggestions that you can see why they chose vegan. It seems strange though now, because this is a word that everybody's using all over the world, and there's this huge growth of interest in veganism, and things are labelled vegan. And this group of 25 people, they chose this word, they made this movement, and it's a great privilege really to be around this stuff.
Donald Watson was a pacifist. He believed that everyone deserves to live their lives free from exploitation, including animals. He tried to live his life in the best way he could, being mindful of everyone, and he was just a revolutionary person. He basically started this huge movement, which unfortunately he didn't get to see how far it's become. But he definitely started something meaningful that was close to his heart. And I think he was a very brave man for becoming vegan in a time, after wartime as well. And no one else knew his reasons, and no one else saw sort of the benefits of veganism. But yeah, he could definitely be called a pioneer in that sense.
He was a vegetarian from quite a young child because his uncle had a farm there, and he loved being there with the animals and so on. And then one day, his uncle took him and there were animals slaughtered, and he saw the animals as his friends, and he was just horrified that that's what happened. And that most of all, I think he was horrified that this uncle of his that he really liked and valued could do this thing, could take this life. That was when he became vegan, although the word didn't exist.
The Vegan Society defines veganism as a way of living that excludes the use of animals as far as is possible and practicable. So in dietary terms, that means avoiding animal foods such as meat, dairy and eggs. And we also avoid using cosmetics tested on animals or wearing clothing made of animal materials, and also visiting places that use animals for entertainment, such as circuses and zoos or aquaria. So we wouldn't visit places like that.
Daniela also explained to me the difference between plant-based and vegan, two terms which, up until this point, I thought were the same. However, she mentioned that the term plant-based refers to a diet that focuses on eating healthy whole foods from plants, whereas veganism is a lifestyle, which also includes diet, but is focused mainly on ending the exploitation of animals. It's also worth noting that the Vegan Society didn't invent the ideals behind veganism. There have been many famous advocates for animal rights throughout history, including Leo Tolstoy, Susan B. Anthony, Rosa Parks, Gandhi, and even dating back as far as Pythagoras. Cut forward 2,500 years, and there are now millions of people working to create a kinder world for us all. I heard about a group of people in Maastricht who were using vegan food as activism to raise awareness about the injustice of food waste.
Food Bank is an initiative for spreading awareness, public awareness about food waste, how we can all do it better if we don't throw away, let's say, visually imperfect vegetables, but use them still, even though they aren't really perfectly looking, but they are still just delicious as the perfectly looking one.
I wanted to see how much food Borut's team was actually able to save every week, so I tagged along with them to the local fruit and vegetable market held in the city center of Maastricht.
Mangoes.
Yeah, so here we get more mixed stuff and yeah.
What do you think?
It's hard to say. I'm gonna decide in a minute.
So sometimes you have to like go through the food and figure out what is usable?
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, a lot of stuff is still good, but doesn't look as nice from the outside, but yeah.
I gotta ask, what do you think was so wrong about those mangoes that they got like into the throw out pile?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, sometimes they have like small spots or something.
Yeah.
So then I guess, you know, people, when they buy them, they take the one that looks better. And yeah, that's basically all.
Not a whole lot.
Nah, exactly.
It turns out that just the food that gets thrown out every year makes up for 8% of worldwide greenhouse gas emissions. And that's only the food that gets thrown away, not the food we eat.
The thing is, a lot of people don't really realize the amount of food that's actually being wasted. Because if we think about food waste, is we think, okay, once we slice a paprika, we use half and then we store the rest in the fridge, or we just don't use it anymore, we just throw it out. But actually, it's a way bigger problem, because if you look at the chain of just getting the food from the farm to your plate, for example, there's just so much food that's being wasted.
I felt disheartened to see so much food being wasted from a single market in a single city in one of the smallest countries in the world. This really brought the scale of the global food waste problem into view. Around the world, we throw out about 1/3 of all food that is produced. And at the same time, we have over 800 million people, 10% of the human population, suffering from malnourishment and hunger. With every 5th child death being related to starvation, how is it possible that we're throwing away so much good food?
So what we try to do here at Food Bank is to just create an event where we can inform people about this food waste problem and then try the best that we can to offer a solution.
Together here we cook every Friday meal for 100 people. A lot of people come to Food Bank and see all these vegetables there. Say, oh, I never knew that there is so much food wasted.
So the meals that we prepare every Friday are vegan, and that's because of the food that we get from the fruit and vegetable market that happens here every Friday. And if you think about it, it's kind of logical, because we kind of save the food that would otherwise be thrown away. And if you were to get, for example, meat or eggs or dairy, not the best thing that should be eaten anyway. So we just tend to get the fruits and the veggies, and that's what we turn into a 3-course meal for whoever wants to come and join, and it's always a really nice experience.
The fruit, yeah.
Works, and we encourage everyone to do it as well, to try the system. And you don't have to start with 100 people, right? You can start with 10, 15 people.
Good food, good music, good people. What more could you ask for?
After learning about the issues of food waste and also seeing the power of getting a community together to do good, I was hooked. So I headed to a festival in the UK called the Vegan Campout, a 3-day music festival where people do a lot more than just eat great food, hang out with their friends, and listen to their favorite artists rock the house. At the campout, thousands of people from all around the world gather to listen to doctors, NGO founders, psychologists, and even animal rights activists. I'd never seen anything like it. This is Ed Winters, also known as Earthling Ed, an animal rights activist in the UK who speaks every year at the campout to raise awareness about the importance of vegans not only being vegan, but also advocating on behalf of the animals that they care so much about.
My name's Ed, and I am a vegan educator and activist. So I reside in London, but I travel doing talks at universities, different businesses, schools about veganism and animal rights and the impact that has on the environment, it has on infectious disease, it has on our health. And I just try and raise awareness to encourage people to adopt a vegan lifestyle. I also co-run an animal rights group called Surge, and we put out different content online, talking about different issues. We host events in London and around the UK. And yeah, just really try and do what I can to spread the vegan message and encourage people to think about their lifestyles and acknowledge the suffering that's caused through the purchases that we make every single day. So we're currently sat in Unity Diner, which is a non-profit plant-based vegan diner in central London. We opened the doors in September 2018 in a different location, and we expanded past the capacity of that location within a year, and so moved to this larger location now. We wanted to offer a place where vegans could come and eat delicious vegan food and not have to worry about having limited choices and see a full menu and choose anything they wanted, but also by doing so create a system where the money that is spent here is put back into doing the work that we all care so deeply about. So the purpose of Unity Diner is really to create enough funds so that we can open up a new animal sanctuary in the UK and provide a safe haven for rescued animals from farms and from slaughterhouses who are abused, who are neglected, both in illegal and legal ways, and create a system that shows how attitudes towards animals are changing on a larger scale, and also how business can be involved in that, and how we can be creative in our advocacy and do things that actually help in a multitude of ways. And so by having the dino, we get non-vegans that come in and they're eating a burger that tastes like a beef burger, or they're eating toefish that tastes like fish and chips, right? And they're enjoying that food and they're having their perceptions of veganism changed, but when they pay the bill, they're funding things to help animals as well. They're funding advertising campaigns, they're funding people's wages to do animal rights work, they're funding the creation of a new sanctuary. And so we have this kind of cycle, hopefully, where people come in, have their perceptions of veganism changed, and without them even realizing, they're funding more work to help push veganism as well. And that was really the main idea behind it, was to create a business, to create a model that could do good as well as provide good for the community and non-vegans who want their perceptions around what vegan food can be changed as well.
When I was in London, Ed and Surge organized the official Animal Rights March, which brought more than 10,000 people into the streets of London to speak up, and speak up loudly, for the animals.
All right, thank you. So what's going to happen is we can't take up all of this space on the width. So what's going to happen is we're going to funnel in a little bit.
Okay, we're good. Okay.
Are you ready? Are you ready? 3, 2, 1,
They're calling our names, hoping we'll come break them out from their chains. I can feel it, their pain, with all of their cries deep inside of my brain. For us there's no sleep when 10,000 marches are pounding the streets. The industry's placing their bets, but there's no turning back, and we'll never forget. Like, right foot, left foot, right foot. We're standing up for every...
George, why are you here today?
Stand for the animals.
Okay, that's amazing. First off, high five.
Animals need to be free like us.
People are looking onto us, they're looking, what are we doing here today? And they want more information, so we're here to give us some information.
Are you part of the protest today?
No, I'm not.
No, so what do you think about it?
I really like the turnout, and I support what they're going for, so I'm all for it.
So would you say that you love animals?
I do.
What are your favorite animals? Your favorite couple of animals?
I like dogs.
Dogs, okay, yeah. And do you think that dogs and pigs should both be treated equally?
Sure.
Absolutely. And so what about like cows and other animals too?
No difference.
No difference, okay. Can I ask, do you eat animals?
I do.
You do eat animals. Do you think that you would ever eat a dog? Why not?
Because we were socialized to believe they were pets.
We want to help them. We're not here to fight, we're not here to debate, we want to help become vegan. We're all in this together.
Have you ever been to a slaughterhouse?
No.
What do you think it's like in there?
Scary.
Scary? Do you think the animals are scared?
Yeah.
Yeah? Do you think it's fair for us to do that when we don't need to do it to them?
People don't do what they do because they're inherently bad, right? People aren't buying animal products because they want animals to suffer and they wake up every day, wishing for cruel things to happen to animals. That's not the reason why. It's because we're conditioned and, we're indoctrinated by the systems and the cultures and the societies that we're raised in. And so we never have the chance to actually question the way that we live, because from the moment we're born, these are the values we're given. A great example of this that happened really recently was there's this big news report that came out, it was going viral on social media, that these teenagers in the UK had crushed some swan's eggs. So they'd found that there's swan's eggs in a park, they destroyed the swan's eggs, and then the mother swan had actually died from grief. And people were absolutely outraged. How could you be so cruel to animals? I hope these kids get some karma placed upon them in the future and they understand what it's like to lose a loved one. Like really quite severe comments from non-vegans, right? But what these non-vegans are doing is purchasing eggs from an industry that grinds up male chicks day in, day out by the tens of millions all around the world. Now that's a state of cognitive dissonance because you're perpetuating an industry that is actually, in terms of the scale, worse than the actual action that you're outraged about. Part of the reason that we wanted to do the Animal Rights March was to give people a sense of belief in themselves. You know, because we go out on our normal days and we can feel like we don't have that much power, we don't have that much influence, but then to be surrounded by like-minded people that care about something that you care about so deeply, who are there to take their time out of the day to stand up for what they believe in, that fills you with so much conviction and determination that when you leave, you feel that you have to do more, and that's what we want with the march. We want to take people that may be just dipping their toes into advocacy and activism, people that may be feeling like they've got some compassion fatigue and are jaded, to go and feel inspired and feel motivated and feel that energy from everyone around them, to then leave the next day or that evening and then to start fighting and start advocating for the first time, or to continue with extra conviction.
Being vegan can be a tremendously empowering experience. Veganism is not the solution to the world's problems, obviously. However, any solution is incomplete if veganism is not a part of that. Being vegan enables us to live in alignment with some of our deepest values in a very important way.
After meeting Ed and attending the Animal Rights March, I felt like I needed to do more to align my actions with my values. I met up with Anita Kreintz, the founder of an organization called Animal Save Movement, formerly known as the Save Movement, to learn more about the power of something called bearing witness.
My name is Anita Kreintz. I co-founded Toronto Pig Save in 2010, and now I'm an organizer with the Save Movement as well as Toronto Pig Save. I moved into downtown Toronto in 2006 near a slaughterhouse. I knew it was there and I thought somebody should do something about it. I never did. I thought, oh, eventually I'll maybe organize some leafletting or something. I did contact a group in Hamilton near Toronto and asked the active group there to do something, and nothing ever happened. But then I adopted Mr. Bean, a beagle. And we would walk every morning along Lakeshore, and it was the first time I saw the pigs looking out of the trucks. It was just really mind-boggling, and I called a group of people together and we set up Toronto Pig Save. The first time that I walked up close, there was a pig looking back at me through the porthole, and it was the most unbelievable experience. It was this beautiful being who was pleading for help and looking in my eyes. I never experienced anything like that. At that moment, I promised a minimum of 3 vigils a week.
Tonight I'm going to be at Farmer John's with LA Pig Save, currently heading there now. I think it's going to be a really, really intense night, but also a really powerful one.
A vigil is the form of activism that Animal Save Movement is known for. They peacefully stop trucks carrying farmed animals so that they can spend a few minutes with them before they enter the slaughterhouse. They also give the animals water and collect footage to share with the world.
The SAVE movement is highly influenced by Leo Tolstoy, Gandhi, Cesar Chavez, Martin Luther King, and other love-based community organizers. And I knew that other social movements were able to build grassroots movements by doing actions regularly on the street.
I think one of the first things that struck me when I first came to my very first vigil was bearing witness in person. It brings the magnitude of the problem into focus, because when you're actually here and you witness truck after truck after truck going into this slaughterhouse full of living beings and leaving empty, you realize that not many people put together what happens to these animals between the time when they're on the farm and the time when they're on the grocery store shelf. So that's what it means to have bacon and sausage and pepperoni and hamburgers on every shelf in every grocery store in the entire country. It means exactly this.
The pigs are anywhere from 150 to 200 in one truck, and we will see anywhere from 10 to 25 trucks in one night, and that is just on a Sunday night. Whenever they come in, they have been deprived of any kind of food and water. Sometimes they travel for 4 to 5 days, depending on what part of the country they come from. They enter into the gates, and the first thing that they do when they unload them is they send them to the gas chamber.
We will stop the trucks, and we get 2 minutes to show them the only kindness that they'll ever see in their life. I mean, they're 6 months old, and so imagine the first time they're ever going to see daylight is when they're going outside to get on a truck. You know, you got to think, like, are they even questioning whether anything is real or not? And then when they see something real, when they see something nice, it's on their way to be killed. Just one bit of kindness, tell them, you know, we see you and that you exist and we're sorry.
It's one thing to share videos on the internet or pictures. It's another thing to see it for yourself and to be the face and to show your family and friends that you see this, that it's not hearsay, you're witnessing it, and it's amplifying their voices.
Every time I bear witness, I have more motivation to keep fighting for animals. If I miss a vigil 1 week, it seems like, you know, I skipped something that I should have gone to. And it's because it really does make you feel more obligated to make a difference and go do activism and tell the world what's going on. And also for people that aren't vegan yet or just have no idea what's going on with animals, when they actually see it in person, it will give them the power and the motivation to actually change their diet. Maybe they won't go vegan, but maybe they'll start off with, hey, I'm not gonna eat bacon anymore. I'm not gonna eat anything from pigs.
I feel like for me, one of the biggest powers of bearing witness, of just being able to look left and right and just seeing people that are here to at least show some compassion to these beings before their lives end. I think that the hope is that means something.
Every movement, every social justice movement in history has had an activism component. And if you feel hopeless and if you feel like you're not doing enough, look for that next something.
If you were in the position of those pigs, if you put yourself in their shoes, you would not only want people to stop supporting cruelty towards them, you would want people to come and save you. You want people to come and help make a difference. You know, being a vegan or being plant-based, it's great if you do that, but it's not enough. We have to actually come out here, we have to bear witness to it so we can talk to our friends and family about it, or anyone who's not a vegan, and we need to get footage of it. And of course, we need to show these pigs love, because for the first time in their life at these vigils, these pigs are gonna receive love, and that's very special, and that's why I'm out here, is to be a part of that.
There's also a vigil Wednesday evenings from 7:30 to 11:30 here at Farmer John as well. That's organized by Animal Alliance Network. And our bi-weekly chicken vigil is this week as well. That'll be early Friday morning. It's 3:30 a.m. to 5:30 a.m.
If we all did not turn away when someone was suffering, but came close and tried to help, we would have a beautiful world. And so we want to change the culture of the entire world so that that's the new norm. It's just a natural thing to do. You don't even think about it. You see someone suffering, you run there and you try to help them.
Many people think, well, what's the point? The problem is so huge. The problem is so overwhelming. I remember a quote by the activist Eddie Lama who said, when I became aware of the extent of the suffering of farmed animals, I thought, well, I'm just one person. What's the point of me becoming vegan? animals are going to continue to suffer and die. But then I realized animals are going to continue to suffer and die, but not because of me. And when I wake up every day and I carry that awareness with me, it stands for a lot. It's a reflection of so much that matters to me. Once you have seen the footage of what actually is happening to these individuals in animal factories, you can never unsee that, and you never see the world in the same way again.
It's very painful to see these animals because you empathize with them so strongly. You feel like that could be your dog in the truck, that could be you in the truck, or your family in the truck, and it's so unjust, and it's very painful. Gandhi, in his Satyagraha movement, talked a lot about sacrifice because that's how social change happens. It doesn't happen cost-free.
Attending a vigil with Animal Save movement inspired me to learn more about animal rights. So I headed to the Animal Liberation Conference, hosted by an organization called Direct Action Everywhere.
My name is Wayne Shung, and I'm co-founder of Direct Action Everywhere. DXE is a grassroots global animal rights network that was launched in 2013 to build a political movement for animals. And what we wanted to do was look at the lessons from history and from the best social scientists who've been studying what works to create systemic political change and apply it to the cause of animal rights. The way I've put it for years is you can summarize what we're trying to do in 10 simple words. Find your voice, find some friends, and fight like hell.
If you've gone to a vigil, you have a rough understanding of what Green Team does.
The Animal Liberation Conference is a historic convergence of activists from all different animal rights groups in the grassroots and from across the entire globe coming together for one purpose: to share and train each other to be the most effective activists we can be and to take action together. You think about a conference, you think, I'm going to get a clipboard and a binder, and I sit around listening to a bunch of guys talk about stuff that probably puts me to sleep. The LC is intentionally constructed to be the exact opposite. So we don't just teach you how to do these things. We go and put those lessons to action immediately. You know, we teach people how to rescue animals, what to think about in organizing a mass open rescue, and then we go out and do one.
Direct Action Ever Open Rescue Network. We're asking for all the animals removed and sent to a sanctuary. You can call your boss. We're not here to harass or antagonize any of you. We're here to care for the animals. But are you here to trespass? Are you here to steal property? Thank you very much.
Nonviolence is an old Buddhist principle that has been completely misapplied in the West, unfortunately. When most people think about nonviolence, they think about yoga and meditating and chanting and maybe singing some songs. And those are all things that certainly are in alignment with nonviolence, but they aren't central to what nonviolence actually means. What nonviolence actually means is direct intervention to stop violence. There's some ancient texts from China that talk about nonviolence, and they talk about this duty that we Chinese call the duty of life release. And the idea behind this is anytime you see an animal, human or non-human, who's facing violence or facing the risk of death by the hands of another individual, you actually have an affirmative duty to step in and place your body in between the person who's inflicting that act of violence and the victim. That is a very high standard, and it's a standard that I certainly don't live up to. But that is a standard that I think we need to start trying to apply to the animal rights movement. It's a standard that has worked effectively in other social movements when people felt strong enough, capable enough, inspired enough to say, even if the police are going to come and arrest me and kill me and my friends, I will stand up against racism.
Our message here is not that we're against the cops, not that we're against the factory farmers. We're here for the animals. There are probably not enough police officers in the entire city where we're going to be going in to arrest all of us. Again, we do not want anyone aggressive with your body, with your tone, with your words at all. Again, we believe there's criminal animal cruelty at this facility. We believe that if this were a dog or a human child, the government would be taking immediate action to remove these animals and give them the care they deserve. And there's no reason, just because this is a profitable, evil corporation that supplies to some of the largest retailers in the world, including Amazon and Whole Foods, that this company should not be held accountable in the same way as a typical animal abuser on the street.
We've always known that it takes different approaches and a variety of approaches to get people to kind of sit up and pay attention. I mean, our biggest enemy is apathy. People don't really want to know, and that's largely because I think your average person is kind, and they don't want to see the behind the scenes of, how cows are living in these feedlots and how Sheep are beaten for every little square inch of the wool that we wear and steal from them. And so it's up to us to figure out clever ways, sometimes funny ways, sometimes controversial ways to get people to sit up and pay attention.
How many animals did you say are?
It's about 1 million on site, yeah. Because it'll be, at any point in time, it's about 1 million, because it's a 70-week cycle with the egg layers, right? So you are basically the host for us.
We don't have a timeline that they gave us, do we?
First team comes out like 12:30, 12:45, and then the final team comes out basically an hour from that.
Well, I mean, you'll probably let me know when you want me to start the live stream, but you want walking, start walking.
The goal is definitely for you to come back again if you can, and come back all the way inside. So re-suit up. But sometimes I'm just kind of blown away by our team. How smart and organized it is. I believe we have the legal right to be there and to rescue the animals. But this is a county where factory farm is extremely powerful. This is a supplier that sells to Amazon and Whole Foods, some of the largest and most powerful corporations in the world. And regardless of what the law says, these companies have enormous political influence. They are able to twist and turn and contort our political and legal system so that the legal system does their bidding. But sometimes the only way to show how corrupt our system has become, how secretive the system has become, is for us to walk right in and shine sunlight on it. And that's what we plan to do. And if getting arrested or serving a couple of years in prison is the cost of creating some transparency and change, I and the other activists who were doing the action today are happy to do that.
The current state of industrialized farming, it's a nightmare. It's a horror show for animals. We're killing more animals than ever, although it's a weird time because there's more awareness than there's ever been. There are more vegans than there have ever been, but the population on the earth is growing. And as a result, more animals are being killed.
I need Gina on the front and Orlando Torres at the back with the stop and slow signs.
James, could you talk briefly on what's happening right now and what we're doing?
There's a mass open rescue happening right now. DXE activists have charged into a factory farm, an egg facility, a caged egg facility. The animals in there are chickens. It's such a bad circumstance for them. They never see the light of day. They don't have enough water from what we've seen on the footage today. And worst thing of all is they're all going to end up getting their heads cut off when they start producing less eggs. So DXE activists have gone in there. They are there to rescue as many animals as possible. We're on our way there as well. There's 3 different teams, red, yellow, green, different activists with different jobs. And we're all going to work together to try to save as many animals as possible today and get as much footage and photos online so that we can draw awareness to the plight of these animals.
I am Julianne Perry. I am a volunteer and undercover investigator with Direct Action Everywhere. And I'm here today in Petaluma at an egg farm. And we are here with hundreds of activists who have come to say, we have been trying to get the truth about what's happening to behind closed doors. What's happening to the things that are being called food and being put on grocery store shelves. Where do these eggs come from? What do these conditions look like? When these eggs come to our grocery shelves, what do the chickens look like?
I'm a lawyer. My name is Wayne Chung. I'm an investigator with the Open Rescue Network of Open Direct Action Everywhere.
Can you keep everybody here,
So we are here to provide aid and care to the sick and injured animals. We have a legal right to do so under California Penal Code Section 597E.
This is a high secure area. Can we talk right up here, please?
We have a veterinarian who's certified our biosecurity protocols.
For everybody?
Yes, absolutely for everybody.
Before you walked on the property?
We've done everything we need to according to the veterinarian's license.
Have you done foot
You can
baths
take this
before
letter. This is a letter. The authorities have been called.
Okay.
We've done an inspection. Let me just show you some of the images we found. Whistleblowers have sent us these images of animals distressed, animals who are diseased with sores in their eyes.
Did you find them in these houses here?
We did find them in the houses over here. Yeah, all over the place.
This is not true.
What's your name, sir?
This is not valid information.
Okay, these are photos taken from your farm. And they were delivered to us by a whistleblower.
By whom?
By a whistleblower who won't be named today, but we're happy to talk to you about it later. What's your name, sir?
Okay, I'd like to see the information.
Yeah, here, I'll give you this letter. Send this to Mr. Reevely. We're happy to talk to him about it as well.
Okay.
But we're here to inspect the facilities pursuant to a right under California Penal Code Section 597E, we have a right to.
You have no right to come onto private property.
We absolutely
you have no
do.
right to come and disturb our livestock.
California Penal Code Section 597E is attached in this letter. You can read the statute yourself.
I'm sorry, I'm not.
So thank you very much, sir. No. Sir, we have the right to do so.
You're not allowed to do this.
We have the right to do this. Thank you very much, sir. We do have the right under 597E. Thank you. What's your name, sir?
The DXC team entered the egg farm under the authority that they believed was granted by a California penal code called 597E, which authorizes individuals to enter pounds to provide nourishment for neglected animals.
So again, our goal is not to antagonize any particular individual, and we do have the powers and numbers today, so it's especially important that we always show compassion. And this gentleman probably is caught up in the system. He didn't choose to torture animals. We're gonna show you what actually happens to the animals in this farm. If you were actually present with us, you'd be able to smell the feces and manure at this facility, but it's absolutely disgusting. And again, we believe there's criminal animal cruelty happening. There's criminal animal cruelty happening here. And the only way for us to stop it is to take direct action, because we've called the city of Petaluma, we've called animal services, we told them that there are criminal violations happening at this farm, yet they've done nothing for the past, frankly, 5 years. And when the government is doing nothing, when the law has failed us, it is time for citizens to take direct action, to take action into their own hands.
Human rights and animal rights are part of the same struggle. The exact psychological mechanism that allows people to see other human beings as different and therefore inferior is what allows human beings to oppress animals. And if we're going to solve the problems of violence, discrimination, and prejudice in our society, we have to look at that root cause, which I call otherization, the idea that someone is other and therefore I can mistreat them.
We're going to have biosecurity gear on, okay?
You can come and talk to me, but you can't overwhelm me and bring people into these buildings.
But we do, because animals are suffering. And we have a whistleblower who showed us this evidence. You don't think this animal's suffering? Animals collapsing in our piles. This was taken from this barn. There's a GPS tag on the photo. Okay, let me show you the statute. Any person who impounds or causes to impound in any pound, any domestic animal.
I'm like most people. I want people to like me. I don't want people to make fun of me or think I'm a jerk or an asshole. And so my constant psychological impulse was to silence myself. And that's the first lesson you've got to learn as an effective activist, that there's one thing that absolutely won't work, and that's being silent.
Okay, so let's read the statute together.
This is Arnold.
We're just reading. Hi, Arnold.
Get out of here.
Thank you very much.
Get out of here.
Okay, we have a right under the California.
You don't have a right of anything.
We do. Do you want to read the statute?
You do not have a right.
Well, we took pictures that show
I don't
animals
give a shit what you took.
I understand.
I'm
sir.
tired of it, Mike.
No, I understand.
It doesn't matter.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. We're not here to hurt anybody. Let's have a peaceful conversation.
The reality is every social justice movement that's succeeded in the past 200 years has required sacrifice. And usually that has entailed some folks being willing to risk arrest and maybe even imprisonment. Like in every generation, there are these progressive movements that are seemingly just trying to expand our compassion and do what seems like, from a common sense perspective, the right thing. And you have these traditionalists who resist it and fight it tooth and nail. And that resistance to change is diminishing over time. People are starting to realize, you know what? What's the problem if this animal doesn't want to be ripped to pieces alive, and that vegan next door wants to sell me a plant-based burger that's more delicious, that's healthier and better for the environment than the meat burger I've been eating for most of my life.
Anna is with my team. Over. Zoe's car move.
Everybody, you can record with your phone.
Yeah, ask and then let's go to where's the animal care set up? Where's Orlando?
Move. Let us know if the police come. Somebody back there. Yeah, somebody watch that way.
This the last one?
I think there's one more maybe.
Is there one more
Is there
chicken
any
or
more?
no? Is there any more?
No, never mind, Zoe, that's all.
They need to go to the vet. I think some of these animals need to go to the vet now.
Okay.
I think we need to take every...
You guys have water? We have water. If you know anything about the manure pile, these are not productive animals anymore. They're garbage animals. They're starving to death.
then we will take them to animal control together, and we've even offered to fundraise and donate money to animal control to pay any bills for the city animal shelter. Does that sound good?
Let's get to, that's a step down the road that I think sounds great, but I don't know yet. We need to take a look, so.
We're gonna go back. We're gonna go back over there. I just don't want to be in the street. You want to move?
Yes. Moving now.
Okay.
Get out of the road. Get out of the road. You can't be here. Can't be here.
Stay on that side.
Got you.
Peace signs.
How about that, huh? Wow.
When people look through history, it's very easy to look at the civil rights movement or the women's suffrage movement and say, of course they were right, and I would have been part of that cause. When you actually look in the 1960s in the civil rights movement or in the women's suffrage movement, you find that most people are not supportive of these movements. It's very difficult to be a dissident in these times where being a dissident comes with enormous social, political, and sometimes even legal costs. Martin Luther King Jr. was arrested almost 30 times over the course of his life as an activist. Susan B. Anthony was arrested for trying to vote. And these sacrifices were not coincidental. It isn't just an accident that all these social movements had to go through these enormous periods of turmoil and sacrifice. It's because that sacrifice is necessary for change.
The idea of facing violence ourselves, but in solidarity with the animals, the 1 million plus animals who are suffering immensely in this farm, I think this is a worthy sacrifice, and I'm proud to stand with all of you here today. Okay, are we all ready?
Thank you.
Yes. Let's wait for this car to pass.
My name is Sergeant James Percy.
Thank you.
If you cross this deputy's line, you will be arrested for 602 of the Penal Code. My name is Sergeant James Percy with the Sonoma County Sheriff's Office.
When you start seeing the other life on this earth as part of your community, part of your family, part of your social circle, you care about them when they're hurt. And that's what I did from an early age. But it was a long time before I was really awakened as a vegan and as an animal rights activist, because I didn't understand the scale and the degree of suffering that animals actually endure until much later in life. For the first time in, I think, the animal rights movement's history, we've started bringing hundreds of people right to the seat of violence, right into the heart of factory farms and slaughterhouses, shutting the facilities down, demanding immediate action by the government to protect the local community and the animals, and rescuing animals from a fate worse than death. And the impacts have been beyond even what I could have imagined. We now have a right to rescue bill pending before the city of Berkeley. We've generated massive international media attention to see what's actually unfolding in the animal rights movement. And finally, most importantly, we've empowered individual people who didn't realize they had the power to take an animal out of a factory farm. And this is, in many ways, every animal rights activist's greatest dream. When we see the slaughterhouse footage, when we see this endless line of suffering and torment and torture, and we say to ourselves, what can be done? Answering that question in such a beautiful, inspiring, and empowering way was our original mission at DXC, to give people the sense that we can change the world. If you don't believe it, come with us to a factory farm and see the difference we're making for those individual lives, and you can see the change we want to make across the globe in the next generation.
Next time on Planet Vegan.
It's very important that we get active for the animals, for the environment, which also means for our own survival.
It was an invasion. Did they have weapons for a start? Are they militant? They're running at me. I was fearing for my life.
Oh my God, there's a dead cow! Oh my gosh!
We're not born cruel, we're born with good hearts and we care about animals.
We going back to the Gold Coast. Fast food, yo, it's burgers and fries. And it used to hurt the earth and the birds in the sky. But now they making it with plants and it's so much better. Cause the animals are safe, no more changes in the weather. We better act fast cause the ice barely freezing. The world's changing quick, so welcome to Planet Vegan. Yeah, okay, we about to change the world, right? Okay. All around the world, it's the same new dance. What you making out of bodies? Yeah, we're making out of plants. We gotta save the pigs and the fishes in the sea. So hold on to your pants, Planet Vegan soon to be. There's a change up in the system, I can feel it in the air. But it benefits us all, there's no need to be scared. We're gonna change the world and we'll do it in a day. So don't fight the future, Planet Vegan's here to stay. We going back to the Gold Coast.